I ain't paying the parts store $200 for this caliper bracket. I can get it for 20 either. Just keep it moving down. Just keep it moving down. Just keep it moving down. Ooh, shit. Oh. Properly lubricate your caliper slide pins. Look at that sorry shit. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Wildman Willie here, enjoying the beautiful sunshine. It's just a little bit over 70 degrees. We got a few clouds in the sky. It is idyllic as always. Welcome to April in Eugene. It's worth the wait. Got to do something about all that rain we have during the winter time. Anyhow, today we have a 2010 RAV4 here, V6 model, nice car. Y'all may have watched in my last video or so me doing the rear brakes, pads, calipers, and rotors on that. Today we're up against pads. We also got a little clunk in the front end, so we're going to begin addressing that by going after the sway bar links and bushings. I know they're no good. They got a lot of play in them. This will give me a better opportunity to inspect what else is going on in this front end, but it'll definitely silence that noise and get rid of the squeaky squeak on the brakes. Matching set of pads. We got Wagner OEX to go on, one of my favorites. So today is going to be a good day. Going to get some sun. Going to get this done. Going to make a little bit of cash. Going to get rid of the noises, and we're going to figure out what future services would be best to make this vehicle run at its best for the long haul. She's well over a liter distance. We've got 280,000+ miles on it, if I'm correct. Running strong, no check engine lights, sure is ready for a tune-up. Couple other services to sell these guys, but, you know, why not invest in a beautiful machine that takes good care of you, especially when you take care of it. Got the good tires on it, so let's get to rocking. I just love it when I get the opportunity to do the job as well as I know how, and this customer supports that theory. And with parts cost being what it is, there's no reason to try to save the $11 to $20 to get cheaper stuff. So for the front, we've got our Wagner OEX brake pads. Always a winner with these. We've got our galvanized steel backing plate, multi-layer shim. You can see there's multiple layers in that. Look, see? Very good and dead quiet. Custom design, custom cake work. Those are always good. Comes with excellent stainless hardware. Love to use those guys. I put that on anything that I can get them to fit for the most part. Sway bar bushings, Dorman. Well, not my favorite company, but you know what? Y'all can make a freaking bushing. Y'all can do that. And this looks like perfectly good bushings, made in USA. Happy about that. For the sway bar links, why cheap out? Why cheap out when it's like $4 more? What we have here is Mevitech Supreme Greasable with the blue boots, nylocks, centered metal on that ball joint. So this is extremely nice. Looks a little thicker, looks a little beefier than what's about to come off of it. If the noise that we're experiencing is from the sway bars, this will get rid of that. Otherwise, I will find what it is today. But no more brake squeaky squeak. No more sway bar clunky clunk. That's going away. And as you can see, recently I did the rear brakes, and they're just looking beautiful. We use the same Wagner OEX pads back there. So, matching setup, skipping rotors in the front as they've been done recently, and we don't have any shake. If the thing's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So the first order of business on this machine is to get these wheel lug nuts broke loose. And everybody's favorite, I got a spline lock to deal with, and a socket that goes on that and this. So don't laugh at me if this don't go quite as quickly as NASCAR. But we're going to try to make it pretty efficient. On. 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 Got that one already. This one. Yeah. Nipple. She broke loose. Now, sway bar, bushings, and links are most easily dealt with either the car sitting on the ground or the entire front end raised. Let me see if I want to go ahead and jack up the other side, if I want to break that loose or what I want to do. But this one's loose, ready to lift the vehicle. All right, now as is pretty common with a vehicle of this age and mileage, this jacking point has been subject to some previous fuckery, but it's not too bad. That's not been out too bad. So of course, I want to get my big jack underneath that. And we never work just under a jack. We're gonna get our biggest jack stand underneath it. Of course, this jack was a donation / payment from some people one time. It didn't come with a jack handle. I'm sure there's a story. So, got my big pair of pliers. I got my big jack handle. Now, what I've wanted to do is to move that where my head won't slam into it, just in case this cams out. We just want to get it to prop up a little bit there. Get the flats in between that. Yep, that looks good. Give her a lift. 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 Pick that bitch up. Alright, we are up off the ground in Funky Town. Get the jack stand up underneath things. Alright. Harbor Freight jack stands used to be widowmakers. Now they're some of the best. I guess they learned their lesson. So, let's see if that's going to be high enough on that jack stand. Get that tire off. We'll just do that. Yep, we're going to be high enough up. No problem. So now we're going to play Where's the Lug Key. That's going to be a fun game all day. I'm sure I'll end up playing it more than once. Should just be hand tight though at this stage. I won't lose these guys. Well, I'd love to lose these guys and put some regular lug nuts on it, but these wheels is kind of funky. I'm not sure what would fit. They're tasteful though. I can't argue with them. I don't see where them tires hit anything. I believe that's a little fatter than what it calls for. All right, should be off to the races with that one. Exposed. Now that we got the vehicle safely supported on both my jack and the jack stand, let's have a closer look at what's going on today. So first things first, brake pads don't look too damn thin. That being said, we found these to be some lower quality parts, and there were some questions had about the installer last time around, and I sure did remedy the problems they had left behind on the other side. Looks like this slide pin boot has been open a little bit, so this could be a stuck slide pin. Time will find out in a moment. Not looking too terrible, but we'll make that a hell of a lot better. If noise persists up here, we'll need some rotors. I don't look that bad though. I think we're all right. There's a little groove here, but she's thin. Sway bar link. I was able to move it with my hand with it up and on the ground. So shouldn't be too different here. Now, these V6 4-wheel drive Toyotas are not easy mode Toyotas. These are what the hell were they doing Toyotas. So the first thing we're going to come across is, look at where the hell they put that sway bar bushing. What do you do about that? Well, folks, looks can be deceiving. This bottom plate is basically your sway bar bushing bracket. And it's a little spooky with big ass bolts to take that bad boy loose. But that's all that should be holding necessarily. There is some shit from the rack that runs through that. We're not going to move any of it though. Interesting. Tire out end boot. Seems intact. I don't hear any fluid in it. Control arm bushing. Worn. Needs new control arm. Ball joint. Dirty. But the hood is not blowed out. Tire out ends. Well, I have felt worse, but I have felt better. Those are to be recommended on this one. Struts. Have the hard style boot. Looks like it's been broke loose. Don't see where they're blown out. That being said, 15 years, 300,000 miles or so. Yeah, time for them. So needs all that, but none of that is totally dead either. CV axle, good and tight on forward to back play. It feels dry. Boot don't feel all busted up, so that's all right too. Basically, I can improve the hell out of it as much as they'd like, or we can do just about nothing and they can keep driving it. Up to them. But I sure am going to recommend lower control arm with ball joint to them for that. That's my initial thoughts. Strut assembly, it will be affordable for the vehicle, so there's really not a great reason why not to put one in there. We do have leakage detected here. Looks like it took a long time to get that way. I'll have a closer look at where that may come from. But for now, let's get started with these brakes. Alright, let's get started with the 14mm bolts that hold the caliper to the caliper bracket. Got that one loose pretty good and easy. Alright. Yeah, got that one loose. Oh, now it should be a simple matter of spin with the fingers to get them both out. That's out. This one's a bit more stubborn. Gotta go to the right flesh wrench for us to out. Now I get my little standy for a caliper. That's a caliper like this. And here in a second I'll better arrange that, but that's holding that for now. Let's have a look at what these pads are like. It's the outer and the inner. Okay. Alright. Good. As you can see, there's still some meat left of that. But we're going to improve the situation quite a bit. Brown, who knows what grade of brake pads, inexpensive, probably Amazonian, versus these guys, going to be a big difference. We get these hardware clips pulled out. Let's check our slide pin and look at that. I called it. That one stuck like a joke. That one stuck like a joke. Okay. But wait, there's more. Step one is to get those broke loose. And then to get them moving back and forth. Honestly, I may suggest a new caliper bracket for them in the near future. We're going to get this moving for today. That feels like a 17mm. Let's see if I'm correct about that. Yes. Okay, we're moving. See this one? Fuck. Jesus Christ. Yep, that would be stuckity stuck right there. So what we gonna do about that, huh? What we gonna do about that? Well, we're gonna start the proceedings with hammer time. I conceded. Alright, we're moving it in some direction. Okay, got her wiggling. That's what that takes. Shot. That one's bad stuck, folks. We'll have to drive it out. Alright, folks. Well, you know how it goes under the shade tree. Y'all get the drama in real time as I approach it. Good news is, you can take me out on the trailer park. You can't take what I've learned away. So, first goal is to get this bad boy wiggling. Get her wiggling, get her wiggling, get her wiggling. That is wiggling. Let's get more play on it in this way. All the way around. She's just stuck. We're going to get her loose. That may be a bit unstuck. That may be thinking about it. So now, ground and pound, baby. Fuck you, slide pen. How dare you? My beautiful Wednesday. See? I ain't getting too aggressive yet. Just sweating it about the idea with this. Now we're going to go back to the rotating. Oh, now you rotate much more freely. You think you might want to come out for me? Maybe, gravy. Let's see. That's that one. She ain't really good either. Woo. This is gonna work me, folks. This one's gonna work me. This one's gonna work me hard. Like I say, I've seen more stuck than this top one. But both of them stuck, and that bottom was pretty good stuck as fuck. That's gonna require you to hire Willie to get this one out. That's what's gonna have to happen. Alright. Time for me to be the most real mechanic on YouTube and show it like it really is. We make it look easy as hell all the time. You know, like it just ain't no thing. This is what it's really like. So, I've done this many times. I've never had one beat me. Not happened yet. That being said, exactly which method is going to get its ass out, I don't know. I'm going to have to throw everything I know at it until it does. So we're going to begin with the vice grips, twist and pull. So what I do with that is just wiggle it back and forth in the range that it wants to move while applying outboard pressure. Seems to be working. Tearing up that bolt head a little bit, but that's how it fucking goes. I don't care. I want it to move today. That's the deal. I want to get it out, get it clean, get it lubricated. We're not going to leave it in there forever. I recommend replacement of this caliper and bracket. We have made movement. So it just becomes a matter of finding something that'll pry, beat, grab, what the hell ever you got to do to get its ass out of there. Yeah, that boot's already a goner. It don't matter, Captain. It don't. But out she's got to come. And this is why I recommend you properly grease your caliper slide pins. We don't want to have to go all the way to heat. That is an answer as well. Let's keep wiggling it. See if we can pull her out. Let's see if I have a little success with the top one. Maybe that make me feel better about things. Get that top one out. It's not nearly as bad. Bad enough, but it's not nearly as bad. Yep, make sure to properly lubricate your caliper slide pins. Oh yeah, see, I was able to get behind that one and get it moving out. So there's that one. It's crusty old grease holding that in there. We'll get it cleaned out and good. See if we can get the same thing to happen to this bottom one. If ain't the right word. When will I get the same thing to happen with this bottom one? It's the only question I've really got. Let's see if I get on the back side of that. Again, we're tearing up that boot. My boot's already a goner. That boot's already a goner, unfortunately. And I ain't paying the parts store $200 for this caliper bracket. I can get it for $20 either. Just keep it moving down. Just keep it moving down. Just keep it moving down. Ooh, shit. Oh. Properly lubricate your caliper slide pins. Look at that sorry shit. No wonder that was stuck. Fuck me. Well, I hope there's a little bit left of the brush on my wire wheel. It's going to take a lot to get that back moving. Fuckery. Now, if you're encountering a caliper slide pin that stuck at home, the best plan is to replace this bracket, or at least the caliper slide pin. And we're going to do that. We're going to get one coming. But sometimes you got to get one rolling right now kind of deal, right? So this will do in lieu of that until we got that. Now, things to keep in mind. When there's that much rust, there's going to be rust inside there too. I want to polish this until it's bright. But I don't want to remove too much material. You don't want to rock to this or anything, because too much material missing, making it too small, will cause too much play, impossible binding, and also not acceptable caliper operation. But at this time, my goal is, if it can't move at all like that, then this brake just about can't fucking work on this corner. So let's make this mobile. And to accomplish that, I got my wheel. I got my keys off my neck. That's good. Wear eye protection when you deal with some shit like this. Hearing protection is a good idea too. Hell, a full face shield wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh yeah. Getting a whole lot better. That's a bright metal finish. We'll do that for just a little bit more. We'll see if we can't get that bad boy moving. Alright, I got that looking pretty acceptable. My next step is I want to dig out any remaining chunky grease, any shit like that. So just find you an implement you have handy in your kit. This is the part of a tap and die set, I think. And it'll go up in there, and it'll scratch around in there, and let all that nasty fucking rust, dust, shit coming out. Yucky. So yep, that's exactly what happened. So, I bitch about this on electric cars where people say they don't need no brakes. I disagree. Maybe they don't need brake pads. Maybe they don't. Maybe those brake pads will last 1,000,000 miles. But rubber breaks down, and when your boot gets compromised, then moisture enters here, and if there ain't a grease in there, then the rust sets up. And the less they're used or the more they sit, the worse that's going to be. When that happens, now this caliper can no longer move back and forth and do its job. Panic stop situation. You may have instability in your vehicle. Your traction control and anti-lock brakes may not be able to do their job exactly as intended. Like that. So, stock caliper slide pin is no joke of a problem. Up next, I'm going to get my air gun. I'm just going to blow that out. I'm going to stick my air gun head up in there. I'm going to put my mask on. I know it looks like I care a whole lot about what I breathe, but I do. I don't want to breathe that shit directly. Got enough iron in my diet, as you can see. I'm going to stick my air gun right up in there and blow that out. As always, you want to take extreme care when working with air tools. And this little bugger right here is the most dangerous air tool most people encounter on a regular, and they probably don't think it is. Why do I say that? Well, this bad boy is capable of firing a rock, a projectile, a piece of shit that blows off of something, even just a little filing, one of the little brush head strings that come off of that wire brush, right into one's eyeball at enough speed to fuck it up. Secondarily, this can inject air. If you were to hold that against your skin and blow it, it would blow a bubble of air underneath your skin. If it injected into a vein, you're dead before you even know what happened. So these guys are dangerous. One thing I'll mention, even though this is not going to be that much dust, I'm still going to cover my mouth up. And you know, I usually got a cigarette in my damn face at all times. But I do not want to directly breathe what's going to be blown up. Another thing, I do not want to be directly in line with this. I want to get this like here. I want to move myself over here. Blow that shit out. As soon as I'm done with the tool, disconnecting that to render that safe and just a line. On the next step, we're going to see if we can get this thing moving. And I may end up wiping off this grease. I'm using this grease as an initial cleaner to grab any dirt that's in there. So normally I don't put that damn much on it. But that's where we're going to start today. When we've had one that's been stuck, you know the rule with lube. Too much lube is almost enough. So in with that. That sliding home with no real problem. Even vacuumed in there. She gets a little sticky up along the top edge. So let's work that in and out, work that in and out, work that in and out. And as you see, my grease is collecting the leftover rust that was in there. Yeah, I believe we got it moving. So I'm going to take my rag, I'm going to wipe this down again. I might take a file to a little burr I've got on the edge here. I'm not sure if that's causing an issue or not. I don't think it is, folks. So I'm going to wipe out that grease that I just installed and lube things up with and refresh the grease. Okay, so as I was fighting that out with the vice grips, I caused some burrs, some witness marks on where I grabbed. And you can just about guarantee that with the good old Swedish nutfuckers here. But you know, what else are we going to do? The technique was effective, we got it out. So in this situation, I got my angle grinder with a little bitty rock on it. Ain't much left of this rock, but it'll do what I need here. I only need to, so you can see that witness mark there and there where this lip is. Now the lip's supposed to grab this dead dust boot. Again, I'm not repairing this for the rest of the time. However, it should be good enough for that when I'm done. I just want to clean up the edge where it matters. I don't care about the outer. I care about where it seats, where it goes in. So, let's just hit it a little. Alright. Good there. As you can see there, that's smoothed off enough for my work. Let me get rid of this little mushroom head right here. Cosmetically perfect, hell no. Functioning. As always, as soon as we're done with it, pop it loose. See if I like that a little more better. So, we're going to take our breaker sticker here, and wrap my handy duty full service rag around that. Good quality towels. Just wipe out that grease. Now this is my grease I just put in it, but it's grabbing that old rust and pulling it out with it. Also, I'm out of that nasty ass brake cleaner. Nasty ass brake cleaner ain't good for old Willie to mess with every day. That's better. Just wipe things, especially on super old shit. Okay, so pretend it's the wedding night. Get that dug in there all the way to the very bottom. We've hit the very bottom. That's good. That's clean out. See all that nasty shit? That'll be clean enough now. Let's take our slide pin boot. We're going to reuse what's left of it for now. I mean, it's offering some protection. Some protection is better than no protection, but it must be replaced. Okay, so we're going to see if we can't pop that boogered up old guy. Oh, she's fully inside out. Oh, look at that nasty rust paste. Just wipe that out of there. Let's unprolapse this thing. God, I just got some creative language for things. What do you expect from your mechanic? You know, it's the proper incantation, the magic spell that gets the job done. Not always going to be pretty to listen to. All right, so that guy goes out that way. So that sticks inside there, ideally. Okay, that ridge is supposed to hold it in. Exactly right. And it's also a piece of shit. And we know that. Now, where did our pen go? It's right here. Butter it up. Again, more than I normally use. That would make it where it would act like a hydraulic piston on one that was real good and had a good finish. But this one don't. I want it to move is the order of the day. You know what? Fuck what's left of that boot, I think. See, that will move just fine. So let's get it in. Let's get it happy about the idea. I'm not going to worry about the further seating of that boot. It'll be held in place by that, and we'll have a new caliper bracket on that. But we've successfully repaired it. It is a mobile caliper. The brakes will mush on this corner when we mush it. I'm going to do similar things to the top, but I'm not going to take the wire wheel to it. We're just going to wipe things off, clean them, grease them, put them back in, get them moving that way. Wasn't nearly as severe. All right, now that I got the boot seated the way I want it, and that stuck back through, I'm just continuing to add more lubrication to the situation. She's mobile. Still a little grindy. But, again, y'all saw what it took to remove it. She was teetotaled. And now she's, I don't know, serviceable. Should work is the grade we're at with that. Okay. So, happy enough with that. Let's get the boot reseated. Over the end of that part. No, it's a busted boot. Okay. She is, I won't call it happy. I'm sure it's more happy than it was. I just need to see what the hell I did with the top one, and then we can get on with replacing the pads. You know, that's what we came here to do, right? All right, challenge is overcome. Now I've got my caliper slide pins moving acceptably. You saw what we started with. We're in way better shape now. Our next step is to get this hardware out of the old bracket, clean them with my wire brush, and one at a time, replace them with my new hardware. I always do it one at a time, so it's very easy for me to figure out if there's any subtle nuances that are going to screw me over. So, I like my big extendies here. They're not the only tool I use for this. Sometimes a screwdriver is the right answer. Alright, that came out nice and easy. Now, all we want to do is get it clean where that seats. There's cosmetically clean, and then there's functionally clean. I'd love to do the first, but we got money to make, and this is a brake job. And, again, this caliper bracket is going to go bye-bye. We're going to say no more to it soon. So, got that cleaned up. Wipe out the dust a little bit. Got a good surface for that. Good. Now, let's open our little hardware pack. Stay close attention to what we got. Find an exact match to how that goes. That is not an exact match to how that goes. Just keep drawing from the deck until I get something that's correct. That's that kind again. There's going to be at least 2 different styles here for outboard and inboard. So there we go. There's one that's going to be correct. So that just slips in. Now your rotor can move around a little bit, so you might have to push in on it to get things right. Make sure the outer tab and the inner tab both fit where they're supposed to. And look, there's that home. Okay. Let's repeat with this top one. Just gonna pull it out. Yepper. Let's toss the one that we've already serviced in the box. Take a close look at these guys. Matches everything I got out previously. Okay. So let's give that a little bit of time with the brushy brush. Get that cleaned off enough to install them. Weird, man. Sometimes, yeah, at least part of it, right? They say there's no asbestos in them. Well, probably not. But what are they using inside of it instead of asbestos? And how good is it for me, right? Okay, so again, make sure your tabs go the way they're supposed to go. Push your rotor around if you need to. There's that. Throw that one in the box. Inside, same deal. Pop them out. Compare them. All right, that compares the same. Brush it out. Dustier back there. Guess so with that stuck ass slide pin. Brush out real good. Alright. Wipe it off. Clip it in. Seated proper. Leaves me one more on here. Get underneath it, grab it, bump it. She's out. Toss your old one away. Does not match. Need the obverse. Need the obverse. Give me an obverse. There we have it. It just didn't look the same because it's nice and pretty and clean. Alright, same deal. Brushy, brushy, brushy. like good dental hygiene, remember to brush your teeth at least twice a day, folks. Especially if you don't drink as much pineapple juice as I do. Alright, that's cleaned off. That's wiped off. Here's correct. Clipped in properly. Okay, there's our new hardware in, looking beautiful. Okay, it certainly appears we're back on track with this portion of the service. My next stop is to install these beautiful pads. Now I went ahead and put my squealer tabs on there. The old ones didn't have any, so I'm just going to reference top side. That's how I'm going to do it. Now these are Funky Town installs right here. You got to get them in just right. But what you want to do is ear towards it and kind of wiggle, push forward towards the front of the caliper bracket. So, maybe easier said than done. Yep, just like that. Wow. Looks like the Terminator's brake pad's right. Get that one in there on the bottom side. Back sides always take a little bit of messing with. I'm a big man. I ain't the biggest man. I'm big enough. Alright, so that is in. Look at that beautifulness. Alright, we're going to restore some stopping power to this guy. So up next is the compressor caliper. I've gone ahead and I've taken the reservoir cap off the brake mechanism. Got my caliper spreader set up and ready to go. So now we just got to twist this bad boy. Just twist it in. Let's just twist it in. You behave, caliper. Don't you stick none. Don't you stick none. She ain't gonna stick none. Just a little. Rearrange your tool a little bit. Get more on center with that. Oh, perfect adapter. This setup. Alright, let's see if that's spread enough right there. Is that where she seems to want to stop? Usually my sign that either she's screwed or she's happy. Put my mask back on, take just a brief moment to knock some dust out of this bad boy. Again, not going too crazy. Just gonna get dust right back in it. But what I'm mainly interested in is my seating surfaces that go against my pad shims, which are these two ears. Just lightly. Be careful with your wire brusher on that. You don't want to tear up that boot. We've already seen what tore up boots do on assemblies. If you have any question about exactly where the pad sits, there's usually a scar on the back side of the old pad that'll show you exactly where you need to apply your attentions on that. Okay, going back on. Always, always, always inspect your brake line. That's real easy to do a 360 with that and pigtail it. See if we're closed enough. Oh yeah, we're good enough there. Excellent. So now all we got to do is get these little bolts started in there. There's one. Started. There's two. Started. Finger tight. Finger tighter than most men could possibly do. So we're to a 14 millimeter. Well, let's extend out full length. No tighter than that. Do y'all want to deal with that? If it make me grunt, it's going to make you grunt too. Alright, so those are in good. Next step, before I mark it, make sure the rotor is seated. If you have any questions about that, sometimes these lug nuts may not run all the way down. We'll see. Oh, they will. Good. Just one on either side. So when I pump things up, I don't want the rotor just moving around. I want it kind of where it's supposed to live. That'll be good enough. Now, turn the brake cap back to the reservoir. Clippy clippy, she's on. Open the door, and with my hand, recycle these brakes. Top to bottom one. Oop. Stiff like a minister and a calf. That's what we want there. Pumped up successfully. So, next up, let's recheck my work again. On and tight. On and tight. Good. Out with that. Needs to move. Were these calipers replaced by somebody? We're not going there today. We are going to mark it right there on the market. That's where I put that. I'm going to put big X. Big X right there, because I don't trust that. I do not certify that caliper. I say that caliper will work today. Let's get a more happy paint pen. Oh yeah, we can see the marks now. That's more better. X. All right, let's WJ 424. Looking beautiful. One corner down on the brake job side at least. Let's get the other side up in the air. Let's leave this side in the air so we can deal with our sway bar bushings when we get all done. And let's cross our fingers, folks, that it ain't going to have stuck slide pins on the other side, because that sucks. That takes a lot of time, energy, patience, and skills, as I have demonstrated today. Let's keep moving with the job. So let's take just a second to acknowledge a mistake I made on the other side, and it's a pitfall you may very well encounter when servicing your own vehicle or other people's. So, first thing I'll say is I was a little bit wore out from fighting them slide pins loose, but it's no excuse. I'll tell you exactly what happened. So, see which side the spring should be on this? That is correct, and I know that, and I've known that for a long time, and I'm the man who gets it right. But on the other side of this, I followed exactly the way they were on there, which was backwards opposite of what they should be. So the previous installer did not know what the fuck they were doing, put them on wrong, probably part of the cause of brake noise complaints since day one with the installation. That's their fault. My fault? I followed exactly the hell what they did. No matter. That's why we check back over our work. I can pull that caliper back down in seconds and flip the hardware over. No, nothing hurt here. But if you think you know better, you do. Look at things 3 times, not just twice. Again, I know better, and they would have functioned that way, but not to their full potential. There's a reason that they are that direction. That's the direction they need to be. So when I get done putting this side of the brakes together, I'm going to go back to the other side, pull that caliper back apart, pull these out of the fucked up way I've put them, and put them back in correctly. There you have it, folks. Who is more the fool or the fool who follows him? I followed the last fool who did this brake job, and they didn't put these in right, and I did it exactly the way they did, and I didn't put them in right, and I'm the one who's supposed to know better. What the frickin' shame. The good news is we moved 0 feet whatsoever. I figured this out. That's why we recheck our work, so it's a very simple matter to repair that situation. Stupid shit, Willie. It's not how it goes. Doesn't even look like that's how it goes, man. Goes like that. Like that, sir. With the spring towards the rear and the seat. Yeah. What a dumbass. Anyway, let me correct my little mistake here. Get everything moving the way it's supposed to. It would have worked that way. In fact, it was working that way, I guess. But why do we have all these problems on this fucking brake set? Ham-handedness, folks. And perfect proof that even a pro like me, if we're not paying attention, if we follow what we see in front of us instead of thinking our way through with what we know how to do in the right way, shit can happen and bite us. Anyhow, I'm going to put my lug nuts on and fix these correctly. Now that that hardware is installed the way Advix and their infinite wisdom intended it to be, in the proper arrangement, we can move on to the sway bar bushings. Let's take just a minute and look at that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense why the pad would arrange with that piece, with this lip in that direction. Otherwise, it's on the front. where it does not touch where it needs to ride is on this slide. So yeah, would have worked. My dumbass almost allowed it to happen. We don't. We double check our work. This is why. But yeah, that's the way that needs to be. On with the mission. Sway bar links means removing some big ass bolts underneath here on this plate. I might just go ahead and get my air gun out for that, folks. We'll see. I will give them a pull with the pull bar just for entertainment purposes. If I can break them loose that way, then that's what we'll do. You know, I avoid the air where possible. We got everything up in the air, and that's the way you want to be to address sway bar links. I'm going to pop them loose here, get them moving, and get those moving on the bottom side. So, on with the mission. Everything's supported. Let's rock on. All right. Get these sway bar bushings loose from this car. The bracket drops down from the underside instead of it being a top cap like I'm dealing with most of the time. Appears to be 4 17mm bolts and one nut. That one nut looks like it runs up through the steering shaft, or looks like it's attached to the top here, so I want to make sure that stays where it goes. The bolt doesn't need to come out on that. But these look like they're big and mean. Might be a job for the air tool, or I might be able to get them with this. Now, I'm figure out how I'm going to get myself up in here. Half the time it ain't just the strength. It's how do I do it, and how do I do it while remaining safe on the job. Let's see if I can turn them. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad at all. That's 2 burnt free. 3. 4. Wasn't too bad at all. Let's see about this nut. That nut is a bigger size. It's a bigger size than a 17. Let's try out a number 19 on it. So I just went ahead and grabbed my 19 and my 21. I'll go ahead and hand fit that. Well, that's a 3/4. It's in the wrong damn hole. But you know what? 3/4 fit that wrench on like Donkey Kong. Let's see what it's like. If it's going to be real super high torque, I'll go back in a 19. If it'll be like them other ones, we'll roll with it. What's it going to be? Ooh. Oh, yeah. Hercules, Hercules. All right. So that's all broke free now. It's relatively simple. Need to repeat that same action on the other side. So all that down low is loosened up, but it's all still on the car. I haven't pulled any of it off. Up next, we got the sway bar link itself to deal with. So I don't know if this one's factory or not, but it probably is. It comes out to a 17mm for the nut and a Torx T40. Fits nice into the head of that to keep it still. So now I just want to loosen that bad boy. See how bad or not that's going to be. Bad enough, it seems. Alright, if that's the correct direction. So sometimes when they're stubborn like that, and again, it's just in a funky position where if I slip, I'm going to bust my hands. So sometimes when that's the case, hillbilly impact to get things moving, and then it's not so bad. So you can get that right out. Now I can just scratch it against that. Now sometimes they move good like that until you get to the snot wad at the end of the threads, and then they'll tighten back up again. The corrosion on that So be prepared. If you live in a high corrosion environment, you might smear a little grease on the head of that first. We will get that all the way out there. And again, with the vehicle supported with this hanging, there ought not be a lot of pressure on this. I ought to be able to just maneuver things as I wish. Yeah, as you can see, if they'll just flop over like that, if they got that kind of erectile dysfunction and won't stay up, that means that it's definitely time to change them out. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat on the inside. Yeah, okay, yipper. So that means I'm going to go down this time. All right. Not stuck in there where we can't see. Let's see. Do I have to hit it this time?
Girl, varsity long jump. Please report to the long jump.
Come to where I can smack it. Get that one out of the way.
Girls, varsity long jump. Please.
Get her smack and turn her. Get her smack and turn her. Now she's officially turned.
4x100
Get this back
meter
together.
athletes.
Use my rationing action.
Clerks are standing near the start of the 4x1 with clipboards and hats, looking friendly and official. Please check in with them.
Spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it.
And again, a friendly reminder. All
It's easy to cam out.
Shorten
the throw.
As you see, our clerks are there with clipboards and hats. Right now, we need all teams for 4x100 meters.
Oh yeah, baby. Was it good for you, Sway Bar Link? It was good for me. Floppy, floppy, floppy. So let's inspect. I've seen them worse, but I've seen them better too. I'd not be able to do all that easy. Wiggle, jiggle. Let's go get it popped off the other side. Then we'll drop that and change the bushings out. Now that the links are broken free on both sides, the sway bar itself moves around freely, pivots and that. So my next step is we've got those 4 17mm bolts. Let's go ahead and pull them out. I've got them all broke free, so it shouldn't be too terribly awful to get that done. Yep, that's the right direction. Let's get my tail up underneath the car where I can get to that. Spooky, spooky, I know. Don't let your kids grow up to be mobile tech. No, I'm in my element, folks. Dirt and grease. And just when I'm about to cry about things like stuck caliper slide pins, and stuck old nasty bolts, 15-year-old bend to the moon and back bushing mounting brackets. And remember, who else were they supposed to go to for this, huh? Well, that's me, Gahil. The calling and purpose of life. If they don't find your hand, they can at least find your handy. So let me loosen up a little bit. That word no bind on the threads. And then I gotta be able to hand spin these guys out. Get that worked out on that right arm. Boy, they wanted to keep sway under control.
Next up, the girls 1500 meters. Then we'll have 2 heats of the boys 1500 meters. Varsity followed by
Shall we? Oh yeah, okay. A little bit on that shoulder.
a reminder, we will not queue a car for each event check-in. We'll try our best, but we're not going to
Sometimes
physically
things
be able
hurt.
to give you an exact call time. The schedule is posted. Please note what event is prior to the event. If you are ready.
But that ain't much overhand.
For example, this is the 1500. They're going to check it right now. Next up is the 100 meters. Once our clerks are done checking in athletes for the 1,500 meters, which is just about to start, then those clerks will walk over to the start of the 100 meters. As soon as you look over and see the start of the 100, you can go check in. When in doubt, please be near the start of the race looking for our clerks. They have clipboards and hats, and it's always good to check early.
Real tight. They're going to require it the whole way. Not so bad. That's the positioning. That's finger tight now. Okay. One more. I guess I could leave that like that. But what if I myself? Alright, well that crap's certainly overbuilt, but that plate is out. Now, the bushing is exposed. Pull that old rotten bushing out. That's all I say. Yep. I've seen worse, but that one looks goosed enough to me, folks. Glad to have her out of there. Rinse, repeat. I think I'll do this one side at a time so that the other side keeps this from dropping on my head. Let me clean up these parts. Okay, so I got the other bracket on the other side loosened, but not all the way down, to give me more operating clearance to get this bushing in here. So it's kind of a fight. You will see when you get it apart that the bracket determines the orientation of the bushing, and it's only going to fit one way. So that makes that easier to figure out and not get lost, at least. This is in fact a funky design, but it's not a terrible one. Let's see if we can get that over it. Okay, so that's to the back. That's where my big hole is. You know, I may not have had to took that one loose. That may not have been necessary. See, once I get things loose, I can see more. But anyway, let's get that bit up over that in some way. What we're gonna have to do is rotate it into position up in there like it's supposed to go. Oh. So that looks about correct on this side. Of course, everything else mushes it together. Am I correct? Small feet to the front, big feet to the rear. This all the way over to the max. So that seems correct. Let's see if the bracket will line up. Yes, it sure will. We'll have to mush it home with them bolts, but it sure will. So that is correct. We'll go ahead and get that started turning. I feel like a fool now on that one. That didn't have to come out. Then he will. Just look that way. Alright, so happy with the way that's all sitting up in there. Alright. This is also why we soft install things. I like to see how things are going to fit before I tighten things down all the way. There's bushings like this. They're bushings. You deform them into position. But I want to make sure all is well. Make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. Try this one. Right here. Can I get a bolt started? Yes, I can. Alright. So we're started over here. Hold all 4 of these, 3 of them bolts. Get one more running by hand. As necessary. Yep. So that started up in there. Well, that bushing's supposed to sit a little further over. That's why we're going to lock things up. Make sure they're all in position. We'll get the other one put on and sandy check things a little bit before I tie any of this down tight. As you can see, I've re-loosened up my bracket on the other side to give me the play necessary to get these things in and out. That's the way you need to do it. So, hopefully you got a good view of that. Better view than I probably do actually doing the work. Up under here. Go in. Alright, now, let's find that orientation notch on this here bushing. It's got a spot it wants to live, and that spot is right there, like it just don't care. Now let's move the bushing all the way to its seat. Let's go check things on the other side, but that should be the bushing living in its home hole. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this bracket up on there in a second and tighten down some things. I'm going to clean it off first. I'm going to do the other one first. But yeah, that one's in correct position. Now that I got my brackets and my bushings on both sides and soft installed, everything's fingered tight, it's time for me to go around and sequence tighten these guys up. Now, what you never want to do is just go and reef one bolt on down and get it tight. What I want to do is take slack out, go around both sides, sequence it until that thing snugs up right where it's supposed to be. And that way, if I have any questions or doubts or don't like the way it's arranging, I can mitigate that and get it just perfect. So we're going to start over here on this side, and I'm not going to tighten anything down to hardcore. Just going to get things started, then I'm going to move to the other side, just like this. Everything kind of finger tightened up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it back 1, 2, 3, 4. This one. 1, 2, 3, 4.
In case you're wondering, we are going to have 10 heats of the boys 100. Still working on heats for us, and then there will be 2 heats of the boys 100. After the 100 meters is the 400 meters.
Let's go to the other side. Repeat that.
Athletes, you can check in at the starting line of each of your races. Once the officials are at the start with the clipboards.
Strong finger tight on all bolts.
Now we'll be really close to the start of your race.
Put about the same number of turns on both sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, finger tight. See it's changing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this backwards will have quite a lot of travel. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going down in there so it catches up to the others. Alright. Move back to the other side. This time we're going to just about close it to snug. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down to torque yet. We'll snug it on all 4. That's correct. Get it right down snug. Tastes like Virginia. Oh. So finger tight. That's the key. Go ahead and finger tighten them all. So got some semblance of the same squeeze going on all of it. Turn that one all the way home this time. Close. All the way home. First one, you went to the market. That one's bolts all the way home. So they're snug all the way. That's snug. That's snug. That's snug. And that's snug. Rinse, repeat on the other side. Get her snug, get her snug. Ready to snuggle up, get married there. That's what she about to do. Take her all the way down snug this time. Don't get too aggressive with one. Walk around them. Treat it just like it was a gasket. Something else, we're going for flat. What is the purpose of sequencing? So I don't pinch one corner and then stretch another corner to match that stretch. Easy does it. See how that lean? So we gotta take the slack out of this. Snug. Go to the opposite corner and a crisscross epicross. That's snug. Alright, now we're snug on all 8 bolts. Let's talking the spec. In spec. Let's see what your wrist is. Yep, nothing. In spec. That's how tough we do that. Let's go over to the other corner. Tighten that the rest of the way. More. And spec. I'm using the left this time, so help. And spec. And spec. Yep. Of course. That's all good. I'll do my final type inspection before I mark it. But after next is to install the links to the ends of the sway bar arms. Alright. I went ahead and took the liberty of going ahead and inserting that sway bar link. So I just pushed down on this until it was in the right position. On this particular one, it's a unisex sway bar link, so there is no left or right. Grease fitting is accessible on the inside and the inside. Wish they were both on the outside, but no amount of flipping makes that Tetris come out and then be arranged on the correct sides. So that's how we go about that. Fastener size has changed a little bit. That's my 7/32. Not my favorite, but it'll hold it still for that purpose. It looks like 18 millimeter now is more correct. So, just a final tight on that one. Then, Just when I think I've got it final tightened enough, I'll give that a little bit of the mallet. First, get on here on this inside one. Push it up.
Another reminder, girls and
That one needs to
boys,
push
400-meter
down.
runners, especially girls, please come check in at this time. Looking for girls, 400-meter runners.
All right, that seems to be good. But mallet off, mallet on. Let's just be damn sure. Well, we don't have no noises. That'll be on good and tight. Same deal here. Put her in position. Make sure we ain't hitting the bottom of the jar.
Once you're done competing, after the 400 is the 100, and we need help with our hurdles. So showing athletes be ready to help with hurdles after the 400 meters.
Do the finals. That's on solid. Time to rinse and repeat on the other side. Quality job. Put my face mask back on. I want to get some of this dirt and debris scraped loose on this mating surface on this ear. Front and back, where that thing's going to kiss and be married. That's the important part. Again, I intend to replace the struts on this car at some point. So that means I'm going to need to put these on in a way that they're reusable and in good shape after that has been done. Just going to clean up that ear. Cosmetically perfect is not important. We're just looking for good function. Give that dirt a scratchy scratch. Just wipe things down real good. Oh yeah. You can tell I was here now. Starting to look like somebody. That's what we're always after. Make it where, whether it's perfectly clean or not, I want it to look like pride was taken in the job, because it sure was. Alright. So up next, with the sway bar link installed on the other side, it ought to be real easy to get this guy into position. Very simple matter. Just click and click. Yep, that fit very nicely. Those grease fittings on the outside on this one. Again, one style fits both sides. Now if I can find what I did with them little nuts. Probably right next to the tool to deal with them with. I'll lose something right through me, I tell you. There's one, there's the other. Alright, good. I'm just going to finger tight these onto position. It should face no resistance until we get to the nylon part of the lock washer. From here, arm ourselves with our 18mm crescent wrench. Let's go to turning this thing. And we'll see how many turns I get before the ball joint portion of it starts spinning. I could get all the way down. I could get a half more turn. When it starts rotating with it, I'll have to put my thing in the middle. Yep, started rotating with it. All right.
Final call, boys, 400 meters.
Allen, torque,
Please see
whatever
Amanda
fits.
start
Use something that fits
blue
well.
with
Don't
clipboard.
get it wrong. You don't want to round off that inside. That's for sure. You want to apply the torque to the outside with the wrench.
Tucker, darling, are you here?
Let's push that.
Andrew Woodcock of Roseburg, 400 meters, please check in. Tucker Darlin, please check in.
Alright, that's pretty good and snug. Gonna do a final tight check though. Same deal with the inside. Since facing the opposite way, so it's gonna spin the other way. Just turn it. Yep. Just turn it. Tighten it up. At least until you see the inside spin. That inside may not spin. It doesn't every time. Alright, see that one didn't require the middle piece. Now we're gonna sandy check that. Yeah. Now, mallet on, mallet off. That's good and tight. All right, I'm satisfied with that. Not much more to go now. Just need to get my nuts back on the end of this steering stuff. We'll be good to go. Now this next nut and bolt that I got to deal with is just kind of a dumbass move on my part. Turns out this one doesn't have to come loose. This is the main boss bolt that holds your steering rack into your subframe. That bracket cleared around it. It was not necessary. Now, one thing I want to note. This is most definitely a high torque situation on this. These were tough with a capital T to break loose. If you are not quite as mean and lean and evil as I am and turn bolts every freaking day, you might very well consider using an impact to tighten that, and depending on how snug I'm able to get it without dragging myself against the ground, I might hit it with my impact. I'm not scared. I want that tight with a capital T is the answer to that. In any event, though, let's see what happens. So I got my wrench set up on top to limit the nut from spinning. I got this in. Oh, no. Now I do. Now I got it in tight mode. Let's just see how much tight I can put on that. Both sides are going to need the same. And again, if I ain't confident in what happens, I'll bring the gun back out. I don't use air often, so that's one place I will be happy to double check. All the way up now. Apply over, put it down. See there what I run into? I weigh about 165, 170. I got the strength, and I have something to brace. That's probably good enough. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have fun getting my wrench back. Let's see if I can go back an eighth of a turn. But I am gonna put the impact on that just for safety's sake. Just for safety's sake, folks. Alright, got my wrench back. Let's see. I'm all the way as tight as I want to be. As I can.
We've got one more heat at the 400 meters. Then Sheldon athletes come stand by a row of hurdles. We're going to put them in lanes 2 through 7 after this 400 meters.
You're going to be tight enough.
They'll go on the yellow marks from 2 through 7.
Other than that, we're talking about breaking stuff, folks. Let's just rinse and repeat on the other side. All right. Everything's on the car, everything's done, but no job is complete until we've gone through everything that we've touched, had a sanity check to make sure it's as tight as I want it, and marked it such. So we start where we started. First is going to be them brake caliper bolts. And I have got my tabs arranged correctly and everything looks all good there. Good. Fix that problem. Make sure we're on tight. Tight. And tight. Check and check. Remark. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Up next is sway bar link. Tight and tight. Good to go. Mark drive was here. Let's mark this sway bar link. W, J. Coming on, we'll paint puffy. That's 4. 24. We need a new paint pen font. That's marked. Right underneath. The 19 I know is tight. That's previously checked. Let's go to the 17s. The 4 bracket bolts and see. I don't remember if I final suffered these down or not. I know I had them snug tight. Let's find out what I did. This is exactly why we go back in. Yep, they needed more snugging. That or the bushing settled. It's 2. 4. All right. Let's check fast on that. So let's work a bolt. Work a bolt. Work a bolt. Work a bolt. J. Worked on that sway bar bushing. So that's that tight side. Check for tight. Looking right. Let's check the other side. And it's a simple matter of getting this cloud off the jacks and onto the ground. Everything is checked and marked proper on both sides. So all there is left to do is to put this wheel on the ground, put the wheel on the car, then put it on the ground. Spline locks, thin wall socket for spline locks. They're just fun trying to get the torque specification about right on these. If you go up to the number it's supposed to be, you'd rip them. You'd rip your socket, and then you won't be able to get the wheel on the car. So you just kind of take your time with these guys. Whew, been taking my time with it all afternoon. This thing's been a fighter.
We're doing a waterfall start, so can we have someone pick up the cones?
Looks like some rain and clouds coming in too.
Thank you. Remember, gentlemen, you can break to the inside
but that's okay.
As soon as you can.
We're to the very end of the task. All right, spline locks off. Pick up this wheel. Let's see, do we have enough height? Right, and again, you see how little I jack them up. Just enough to get it done.
This is our final heat of the 800, 200 meter runners. You can start checking in with Amanda in the blue hat, blue shirt, and clipboard at the 200 meter start. Final call, girls 200 meters and boys 200 meters.
Meat wrenches out
First call, 300 intermediate hurdles. And Sheldon kids will need hurdle crew for that as well.
I'm ready to test drive this puffy. Oh, we have a big fat bowl. I might even ride to the Carl's Jr. and get me a cheeseburger meal. Carl's Jr. We call that Hardee's back where I'm from. Carl's Jr. is the same thing, but with even more racy advertising. Interesting. Of course, I dig it. I'm down. Sure tastes better out here, too. One more. I'm going to come along this and pre-torque them. And this won't be my final setting. That's going to happen once on the ground. One. There's two. There's three. I love tires and wheels. They love me too. I like to hug them and embrace them. Only hugs I get. Hugging steel. Hugging vulcanized. Alright, she's seated properly at least. All I gotta do is lift that side off the ground, drop the jack stand, lower it on the ground, check my lug tight, rinse, repeat, do the same thing. Then this repair is done and ready to battle test. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's put this car on the ground.
All right, so if you're curious, there's going to be 5 heats of the girls 200.
We got to lift it off my jack stand.
8 heats of the boys 200. After that, we're going to have the 300-meter hurdles. Girls, then boys,
back in position.
and then onto a one large.
You know, if you got a proper jack handle,
meters, and conclude with
things might be better for you. But you know, I like to show how it really is. And if Willie can cook, like Yen can cook, so can you. Because I ain't got nothing damn special. This was done with hand tools. Quick check. Make sure nothing's underneath that. It's not. Alright. Coming down with it. Just nice and slow. Nice and slow. Good as out from the situation. Now again, spline lock, super thin.
Down in the
I
infield,
can't make these
please,
tight.
athletes. If you're in the line of the 200 down in the infield, thank you.
I'll tear that damn socket.
There's going to be 13 heats of the 200, and we need you down in the infield for all of them.
Can do it.
So basically, don't stand in the infield.
All right. That's pulling up. Let's check it pushing down. Good. Good now. Good. 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 That, folks, is this job complete. We got brake pads on it. We got sway bar bushings. We got sway bar links installed. Up next is for me to make sure the brake system is prime. Road test the vehicle out here a little bit. We got quite some traffic, so I may wait on that road test just a little bit. Let's see. But wheels on.
Varsity
Next up,
boys, triple
walk
jump,
around,
please
clean shit up.
report.
Make sure there's nothing I'm going to run over when I pull out.
Varsity boys, triple jump.
Woo! Working hard today, folks. Working hard for it. All right, time has come to do the dance. Check stick, fill cap, tight. Brakes, tight. Coolant cap, window wash, tight. Air filter housing secure. Transmission check stick in and tight. Never saw the power steering pump. Maybe it's electric. Who the hell knows? Moving on. Never touched it. We're good. Brake fluid level is a little bit on the high side. I may daub some out after the test drive. Down with the hood. That's all good. Let's take another look around at the ground. Nothing underneath that. Nothing underneath that that I'm going to run over. Good. Oh, there's an air filter I haven't put in it yet. That may come later. Let's just prop my video recording device in such a way that y'all can see and maybe hear what's up a little bit as I drive. Whoops. I ain't trying to knock everything over, folks. They come to me the way they come to me. Alright. Brake pedal feels good and firm.
Imagine China backing down on some of these issues. Would it stop sending weapons and dual-use products to Russia? China doesn't really care.
Let's just get rid of all that noise. Alright. Climate control off. We're going to keep a close eye on the road. As you can see, we got people parked for an event everywhere. So we can only road test so hard. Get that strap. That's not smart right there, man. Don't tie that to that. Alright. Brakes feel good and smooth, that's for sure. Watching out for pedestrians and crazy people. They'll be everywhere. Well, I don't know about all the noises. We got some noises out. It's going to take more suspension work to get the rest out. But I can definitely tell a difference already. It's nice and tight. It's nice and tight. Done a good job here, it feels like. Of course, I'll have to let them drive all over Tarnation to let me know how it really is. The brake pedal feels good and firm. I recommend removing all excess cargo from the vehicle for safety purposes. Can't have all that flying around if you go to testing my good brake jobs. Because them Wagner OEXs will stop it, no question. I haven't really gotten any binding pops out of this. Nothing I can hear over rattles in the interior, at least. So I'm reasonably confident. That's done a good job for me. Again, I feel that sway bar bushing. That could feel a whole lot better. And them struts feel about dead. I'd definitely say that's tightened the hell out of the front end for what we've done to it. I think that it'll be pretty not too hard to convince the gentleman that the rest of the car deserves what it deserves. I think up next is in order a good top-end ignition tune-up on this and reseal. Coil packs a lot. Yeah, I heard that little bind just then. We're going to have to do more suspension work to get rid of all of it. That being said, much quieter. The clungy clunk is gone. Now I just got a, hey, what, did I hear a pop? Which, if I'm questioning it, that's fine. Also, they got to settle in a little bit. But there it is, folks. We have accomplished the mission successfully. Car feels like it's riding and driving great. You folks go on across the street. Again, I don't know how much of it is junk inside the car might be making some of that noise. We'll just have to see. Let's see if we get any clunk here. This will clunk sway bars. Hell, I mean 283,000 miles? That shit wasn't loud. I'll turn it through till we hit the wheel stops. See if I found them. Oh, sure did. There it is, folks. She is repaired and squared. Woohoo, folks. Well, that was a fun afternoon. Took quite a lot of doing, but the doing is done. The RAV4 service is complete. We got those brake pads on there correctly. We got that caliper slide pin moving right. No more noise from that. That's smooth and quiet. Sway bar links are in good. Bushings are in good. Everything's real happy. I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for taking the time. You get to see the real ups and downs of it this time around. What it's really like to do this sort of repair in the field with distractions, with lots of noises. Listen, they're cheering for me. Thank you, everybody.